1, we are going to call this special session of the West Tawakoni City Council to order. If you will stand for the invocation, we're going to be standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Father in heaven, thank you so very much for this opportunity that we have to meet together. Father, I pray tonight that we will bring open minds and open hearts to make the best decisions.
1, we are going to call this special session of the West Tawakoni City Council to order. If you will stand for the invocation, we're going to be standing.
And I pray that you will wrap your arms around them and heal them if it be your will. I pray for those traveling, and I pray for the future of our city, and I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can be seated. Okay, brings us to citizens input. Annette?
Okay, I have two requests. First one is from Kendra Anderson, says, "Good afternoon. I'd like to be put on the agenda this evening to discuss the road conditions on Navajo Trail. I have been calling since the beginning of March to get the road fixed. It is now near impassable on the corner of Navajo and Vanceville. And she lives over there in Vanceville Division. Second request is from Mr. Ward Hanson. He sent one request, and he sent another request, and he sent a request not to read it. Then he called today and asked me to read it all. So I'm going to start from the beginning. To citizens and city council members, it appears the city council and management is using COVID-19 as an excuse to raise our taxes and buy new cars, trucks, salary raises, Christmas bonuses, and overtime to offset up to a 400% overtime OT. I don't know what that stands for, from just one department last year. This year has been very hard on all of us, and even some property taxpayers, land and improvements had 300 to 400% increases. None of us have homestead exemption. Many of us are over 65 and others have disabilities. No tax help there as well. We are poor, and this tax rate is another shaker of salt poured into our wounded pocketbooks. We have no city hospital or direct medical involvement in COVID-19 healthcare service. We even take a hands-off approach to a large party at the city park on 9/11 and upcoming pumpkin party. Even council members on Zoom meetings last week are sitting less than 6 feet apart and not wearing masks. COVID-19 is a non-starter in our town. The governor offered special disaster exception status to all that need and will need help for years, like hospital and emergency medical special utility districts. There have been no special exception expense authority requests posted or approved by council for COVID-19 this year. This special designation by mayor is untrue and unjustified. It needs correction. I have asked for but not received city filing of 2020 rollback rate. Why is this not posted on the city West Tawakoni website? It appears the mayor filed a formal notice with tax collector dated August 10th, 2020. This filing shows his approval to move forward with the printing and collections of a rate of 0.548599 based only the estimated tax roll from Hunt County of Sprague District. The estimated roll is almost $500,000 less than the certified tax base. So this proposed rate is above the true and actual rollback rate. As such, I call foul on 2 points. I directly asked for this information last week to no avail. I even emailed this erroneous rate to one of the council. I asked him to call to discuss and confirm, also to no avail. He replied he was too busy. It's very frustrating to see that the tax rate formalized the tax bills authorized to be printed against August 10th by the mayor. There is no mention of posted budget workshops until September and first reading last week. Did mayor do this alone or with your knowledge and consent? This timeline is not allowed per SB2. Clearly, the council has discussed and set a budget to match that preliminary tax roll base from against which, as I remind you, is $407,000 short. This inflates and triggers the 1.08% rollback rate. A rollback petition to 1.034% has been started and will be filed with the city secretary if council passes this already reported with tax collector. A question I hope someone will call. How does the mayor file formal rates over a month before council even has budget workshops or hearings in violation of the SB2 requirements? Thank you for listening. I hope this doesn't fall on deaf ears. I hope the city will ask for an outside and independent investigation of the mayor and those involved here. My mantra applies here, and I hope you agree. Okay, next one. Your citizens and council members, it appears the city council and management is using COVID-19 as an excuse to raise our taxes and buy new cars. Same thing. It is. Okay. It goes on. It's reading I have received. All of this is the same. And I don't see a reason in reading it all over again. Same request. He did request for me to read the Hunt County Appraisal District, the posting, the certification for appraisal roll for the city of West Washington. The Appraisal Review Board has not approved the appraisal record for property taxes located within a county appraisal district for tax year 2020. The certified estimate is provided as set forth under section 2601A-1 of the Texas Property Tax Code. I, Brent South, Chief Appraiser for Hunt County Appraisal District, solemnly certify that the estimated value listed below is that portion of the Hunt County Appraisal District roll taxable by the city of West Washington. Number of accounts, 1,814. Number of accounts under protest, 43. Total number of accounts, 1,814. Net taxable, 86,633,000. Net taxable value, 1,503,705. 2020 average market value of single family residence, 88,093. 2020 average taxable value after homestead exemption of the single family residence, 81,880. And this was dated by Brent South, July 24th, 2020. And since then, we have received a certified roll. And Mr. Hanson also requested for me to give him an opportunity to speak tonight at the meeting. Listen to my message this afternoon, and since we don't have people call in, he said, well, just read the letters, and that's what I'm requesting. So he is proposing that he's going to have a stop the tax rate. That's what he wanted. So that's it.
Thank you, Annette. Okay, that brings us to number 5. Discussion and/or take action regarding the sale/auction of equipment before or after the purchase of leased vehicles for public works and police department.
Brandon had asked me to look on the budget to see where we were at on the police, and we had figured that we would start it, and we had only figured 9 payments. So I told him, I said, we had said that you do need to sell those items so that we can move forward, and because we only are allowing 9 payments in this upcoming year, so that would be around February. And as far as public works, I didn't have any more information on that.
Okay. So it's up to the council if you want to take any type of other action regarding the sale of equipment. Do you want to get them to really pursue the avenue of selling any of the equipment? Did y'all ever get a list of equipment that they were going to sell?
Yeah.
So is that what y'all want them to do? Do y'all want them to really pursue before we follow through with purchasing of the vehicles, or do you want to not have them sell anything at this point in time and pursue getting the equipment?
Well, I think that we need to go ahead and move forward with selling the equipment. The things that we're talking about selling are still things that we're gonna sell, no matter what. We can
Right.
use that money, where the plan that I understand is to use that money for the lease of the vehicles that we're going to get. But whether we move on that action or not, we still need to go ahead and sell that equipment.
Okay,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the equipment, from my understanding, was a subsidiary to the monies that we already have in the budget, which is kind of to the point of Annette just made, right? As far as the selling of equipment, we need to move forward with selling the equipment, but we don't need to stop the ordering of the vehicles because there's a timeline involved for vehicles to get here, right? And we don't pay any payments until we receive vehicles, is the way I understood it. Unless there's something that I did not correctly understand or remember.
Jordan, are they still saying that we won't make payments until we receive the cars?
You do not make a payment until it is on the ground here. And I believe after that, even when it's on the ground, it's still a month out from, so I mean, hypothetically, we get them in February, you won't be making a payment till March.
But we have to take a formal action where we put it on an agenda item and we formally vote to tell them to go ahead and begin the sale of the equipment and we move forward on the lease of the vehicle. The budget workshop was not an actionable
Right.
situation, so
Right.
none of those actions occurred. There's not actions from that workshop. So I would make a motion that we authorize the sale of and auction of the equipment and during the same time that we are pursuing the purchase of the leased vehicles for Public Works and the Police Department.
Donna made the motion to pursue moving forward with selling of the equipment for Public Works and the Police Department.
Can I ask something?
Sure.
Does that mean you want us to sell the vehicles before we place the order, or go ahead and place the order while
Simultaneous.
selling the video?
Simultaneously at the
Simultaneously.
same
Okay.
time.
I have one quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the average turnaround on the sale of these vehicles once you put them all out there? Is it pretty quick?
Usually it's about a 2-week auction. So you'll send all the stuff to them. They'll actually put it up on the website for you. You can set reserves. That's something that I'll have to talk with.
Are y'all doing Renee date?
Do what?
Are y'all doing Renee?
Yes, sir.
date?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that'd be something I have to talk to Chief Kilpatrick about on reserve.
And I think the way they work, they have an auction every 2 weeks or every month or something.
Somewhere around in there.
And you can set timeframes too. So,
I've got one other question. There was a question about titles.
Mhm.
Did we find the titles to what was missing, the trailer? and-
I've been out of the loop on that.
I have paperwork that's got to be mailed in. If they have not gone and got it, inspected.
So we will be able to get those into the auction certificate. I'll second the motion.
hold on just a second, Rhonda.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have a question about, okay, so we're taking action on the sale and auction of the equipment, which has to be done before we can enter into an agreement with the lease purchase.
So the motion is at the same time. To move simultaneously forward with selling the equipment and moving forward on the lease.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yes.
This motion that you just made is inclusive of us saying yes or no to the lease agreement process that we're, okay. All right.
But we do have to pay that $7,300 up front, and that's less than the sale of those vehicles. So our tax money does not come in here until January.
Usually like January, February,
I
and
mean,
But these are coming from the manufacturer, so we're not even gonna get them till February or March.
I couldn't hear the last thing you said.
I said, these are coming straight from the manufacturer. They're 2021, so it's not like they're sitting out on the lot right now. They're coming straight from the manufacturer, so it's gonna be another 2 to 3 months before they even go get outfitted.
So it's up front or upon taking possession of them?
We don't, The way I understood it, we don't pay for the upfitting until that art actually starts taking place.
Yes.
So it's once Enterprise gets the vehicles, takes them to the place to be upfitted, then that's when we are incurring a charge.
And that's for the PD, right?
Correct.
Because Public Works.
Public Works
Is
is,
all
all theirs
inclusive.
is included in one.
Yeah, theirs, the upfitting is such, it's not high enough that it doesn't reach the amount that it costs us anything. It's pretty much rolled into.
The payment.
One more question. Annette, are you saying, from what I just heard you say, does that put us in a bind?
That it could because, we have $59,000 in the bank right now. And our tax money will not start rolling in until December.
But then that, if we don't have to pay that money until those vehicles are there, and those vehicles are not coming in until after the first of the year, for 2021 vehicles, and it's gonna take a couple of months coming from the factory to here, that puts us right after that tax money starts coming in November.
That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want, because, if I've got to pay that $7,300 immediately when Brandon places this order, then we're reaching out more than what we need to. That's all
And I'm
I'm
seeing you shake your head, could you please show
That's,
her?
we won't have to do that upfront payment when he orders it. We don't make a payment until we take delivery of the vehicle.
To make it on the safer side, if you want, Donna can
Because he
review her motion to say that if it requires an upfront fee, then we will wait.
if we wait, we have to down them 2 chargers. I mean, them 2 Tahoes. If, God forbid, something happens to one of them, we're gonna have 1 car amongst 4 officers that's gonna run 24 hours. Then you're gonna recruit maintenance and costs and everything with those 2 chargers, or whichever one's in the shop. At least with this, we have another vehicle where whenever we down both of them Tahoes, it's not gonna put as big of a bind on them 2 brand new vehicles as we just bought.
And when is the deadline that we would have to put the order in for? Is there a deadline
That'd be
says
something
we have to
cheap.
get it?
That'd be something for Chief. I don't know. He's more in the know of that than I am.
Linda, did it get discussed while I was out for the meetings? Is there a specific deadline for doing any of the ordering?
I don't believe there is.
No, I don't know.
There was no deadline mentioned, and there was actually we had to order this many or that many. We could have actually ordered, I think it was 1 and 1. We had to at least order 2. There was no deadline mentioned. I mean, I guess the common sense side of it is there's a deadline. If we wait 6 months, then you've got another year model of vehicle that's coming out, blah, 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 yada, yada, right? So, I mean, we're not gonna be in that situation, but I don't think there's a deadline like it's, 2 weeks from now or nothing like that.
Well, I'd just rather be on the conservative safe side and not put the city in a bind with our money.
That's why I was saying that Donna could redo her motion to say if there's a upfront fee, then we can wait until January, so.
And I would suggest not redoing the motion that I made and that was seconded. If it comes in and they need that money, something comes in weird and they need that money before January, when we've got tax dollars coming in, this council continues to meet on, right now it appears to be a weekly basis. The council can turn around and do a motion to pause and not follow through with the contract for the lease for X number of weeks until we get that money in. But I don't think we can do that now. I think we can just move forward and come back and address it if there's a problem.
Okay. So Donna made the motion and Chris seconded the motion. I think we haven't further,
She answered me. She answered my question.
I think we've had good discussion with it. So all those in favor, raise your right hand. And it is unanimous. Okay, so that brings us to number 6. It is second reading of ordinance number 287-9-15-2020 for proposed 2020-2021 budget. And then you want me to read the whole ordinance?
Mayor, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Since we're on Zoom, we're kind of doing this a little bit different, and I apologize, I should have asked this earlier. Has there any way, shape, form, or fashion that I missed that we let everybody know who's all on? during this meeting. Because there's only one dial in here.
And it's not picking y'all three up, it's just,
Well, I mean, I'm just saying for all legal purposes and reasons, right?
Are you talking about like roll call?
Well, I mean,
Sort
you
of, but you know,
typically,
before on the Zoom, I see what he's saying, we all had. to say
I
our
just don't
names.
wanna have some kind of, something in the background
Sure.
going on, okay? I just thought about that, and usually typically in every call that I've ever had that was not a face-to-face call, or you had video face for everybody, they all announce themselves. Just saying to make sure,
Okay,
I don't want it getting in some kind of a kink somewhere.
Annette,
Annette Lemon, City Secretary, present.
Linda,
Linda Catner,
Alan Schumake,
Donna Milburn.
Chris Burkett.
Rhonda McKeon?
Kevin Featherston,
okay,
is, Mr. McElroy in on this call as well?
no, he's on vacation this week. So the 287-9-15-2020 is for proposed 2020-2021 budget. This is the second reading of the ordinance. So the chair would entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 287-9-15-2020, the budget for the fiscal year October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021.
Okay, Donna made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Linda Kapner seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand and say your name.
Linda Catner,
Donna Milburn.
Chris Burkett.
Kevin Featherston.
Okay? All those opposed, raise your right hand.
Rhonda McKeon?
Okay? Motion passed. Okay, brings us to number 7, second reading of ordinance 288-9-15-2020 for tax rate for 2020-2021 year. I need individual motions made for A, B, and C, and votes taken for. So the first one is for the maintenance and operation at a rate of 0.484213. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion on ordinance number 288-9-15-2020, that for the purposes of maintenance and operation, we adopt the rate of 0.484213.
Okay, Donna made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Rhonda seconded the motion. All those in favor, raise your right hand and say your name.
Donna Milburn.
Rhonda McKeon?
I have a question.
Okay,
Concerning the question that was asked earlier on the dates of this, I know that there was some prior communication there. I was going to ask Annette, is that a typical procedure for that time period?
Are you talking about posting and whatever?
Well, the worksheets that are normally done, and then the preliminary work that is done.
That everything that has been asked of us from Lane Croxton from the Hunt County Tax Office, she is the one that has instructed the mayor and Susan as everything was presented. So, and
Susan completed the initial form to tell her what all was going to be included in with the.
okay, I'm concerned with the timeline is what I'm trying to confirm.
So Lane has posted everything. She's told us we're in line with everything.
But the initial submission that was made was prior to the council approving or being presented with this rate. So that's what I'm changing. That's what I don't understand.
The initial submission was made on 8/21, and our meeting was on 8/31.
And that, what is that 8/21 date that they're talking about?
That's, I guess, what Susan had turned into them to let them know
There
how
was-
much we were carrying over in the, or the, proposed M&A.
Can we take a 5-minute recess and you pull that file that shows that
You have to go
documentation?
look on Susan's computer, Mayor, and see what you have back there.
Okay. I'm gonna call a 5-minute recess for us to be able to go get that paperwork.
I'm almost stretched my legs. Me too.
Everyone's left the room, I can breathe. Right, just a few of us 20 feet away.
I hate those disposable ones, so I cannot breathe with those things.
So when are you moving, Linda?
We hope to close on the current house the 14th and the new house on the 15th.
So you'll be gone before the end of October?
Back to back. What paperwork, huh?
The appraisal was done today. She said it'd probably be, she was gonna try to get it by Friday, but she couldn't promise. So we'll see.
So the people who bought your house, they have kids, or they have families?
Just a single guy,
Ah, okay.
moving up from Buddha.
Well, he's gonna enjoy that backyard.
Right?
Oh, God.
I wouldn't even try. I couldn't do it if I wanted to.
Well, I didn't do it at first because I knew they were gonna fall good.
Yeah.
I've got a pair at work. They don't fall. Yeah. All right, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I still,
Hold on, yeah, let's start again.
Kevin.
Okay, we're gonna call the meeting back to order. It is 6:33. So what Annette found and copied says Schedule A, unencumbered fund balances, and Schedule B, 2020 debt services. If you see down there, this is what's being talked about as being signed. It's actually August the 10th.
this is what Susan used to be able to set up what is being sent and paid for out of the INS fund. So this shows the INS Fund 2, which is our ad valorem tax base, has 14,306 in there. We're still using part of it to pay the John Deere backhoe lease. 2 chargers, PD, jet machine, and personal equipment. And then the EDC loan payment with the city is being figured in there. So that's the only thing that was signed in August to be able to go along with your taxes. So using this is what is figured to be able to go along with your tax base.
Well, this, all I'm saying is that this is the first time I've seen this particular form. And to be able to set this rate, there is forms that have to be submitted to come to that point. And I'm asking, was there additional paperwork involved in that sent to the county before the council met to determine that rate right there?
No,
Tax
nothing,
rate.
nothing past this that Susan was saying had for figuring your rate. Nothing has been sent to county besides when we met and had that personal, or that 2:30, 3:30 meeting, whatever time it was on, what was it, August 31st, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
We had 2 meetings that day.
Okay, because we're here now for actually the second reading of this ordinance.
So,
Correct.
On the ordinance.
so the worksheets that were sent in, and there was a signature by you, Alan, on 8/21. From what I understand was sent in saying that, that was the worksheet sent in for the tax rate to the county on 8/21.
We do not have anything that we've come across that has my signature from 8/21. I don't need it, I got it.
I think that's the question, right?
That's what I'm asking, but
And I'm kind of like you, I don't remember ever seeing any of this stuff.
So this was put in your packet when your first budget was sent out. It was in all the paperwork. This is what Susan had filled
that's
out.
not the document that I'm referring to.
Annette, do you know anything about a form that I signed from 8/21?
A 2020 tax rate calculation worksheet.
So Kevin, are you saying you have a form with your signature on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see it?
I haven't finished the whole 30 pages or whatever, but it basically tells you what it is, right at the top of it, and the second sheet is how the division comes about.
And what is the source of that? Where did that come from?
Okay, this is a formal calculation tax worksheet, and it takes the numbers on this form and it puts them into the actual worksheet. So the first number that you see there on the debt amount is the $69,679.36 that Annette said was in our packet on the original time when this came to us. The unencumbered fund amount of $14,306, what's on this worksheet right here, that was in our packet. That is the amount that's any paid from funds listed in Schedule A. Then you have 2 zeros, which is your amount, if any, paid from other services. There's a 2 zeros typed in here that matches the handwritten form, which leaves the adjusted debt to be paid from taxes in 2020 of $55,373. and 36 cents. They actually took it down to the penny, so I don't know that it had to do that. And then you had the other zeros in there, but that brought you to the amount of your total debt levy. So this particular form is just taking the numbers that Susan generated and putting them in the actual form that they have to send to Hunt County.
Can I see that as well?
So when was that hearing or that meeting and that we had that approved our tax rate?
Okay, go back to the
It
motion.
was,
Not sure.
And if that,
it was 10 days after the signature date on that page. It was on the 31st, that signature was on the 21st.
This one we have says the 10th.
That's the worksheet that we did within here. This is what was submitted to the county.
so on August 10th of 2020, these were the numbers that were generated going through our financials,
The homework sheet, basically.
the homework sheet, but these are the actual numbers.
Right.
You know, they don't alter. And so those are the numbers that go into what you submit to the county. So this was done on 8/10, that was submitted into the county on
21.
8/21.
Anybody else?
And is that what they use to come back and make the recommendations of the different rates to us from Hunt County, Alan?
That's how my understanding that she came up with your maintenance and operation, your debt services for a total rate of 0.548599.
Okay.
She said our voter approval rate, she said our no new tax rate and our current tax rate.
So those are the numbers that were provided to us. Those are standard numbers that have to go to Hunt County for them to provide us with the estimated tax rate.
That Susan said all of the INS stuff for.
Because in actuality, just to, clarify, even though city council for many years and been mayor now for the last almost 2, in the history of this council, do these numbers change when you send them into Hunt County to get your tax rates? I mean, the numbers change, but isn't that the procedure? You gotta send the numbers that you have.
Yes, you have to tell what you're wanting to put into your INS fund so they can get your numbers set for you. Because the more you have in INS, the less you have in your maintenance and operation side.
All right, and these are numbers that are in our budget. This is connected to the budget that was done last year.
Correct.
So these are numbers that we're all aware of. And that you recall that this came out in a packet to us before we voted for the first reading of this tax rate?
Yes.
Okay. So numbers, information that gets submitted to Hunt County for this comes from the mayor or the city administrator, correct? It doesn't come from this council.
Right.
So we would normally ever have had a meeting and to put on an action item going over these numbers or filling out that form. Is that correct?
Well, you would set what you choose to have in the INS, which this is what is on that form, which all agreed to with being debt services.
Okay, so that's what we agreed to when we came in. All right, that's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, that form, that, Mr. Featherston just said, that's, from my experience, that's a standard form. The city I work for, we have to do the same thing. But I have another question outside of that. If this council chose to not, adopt this tax rate that we have in the, second reading, wouldn't the process be that we have till October 1 to do it, and then the city becomes responsible for all the mail outs and all that, if we don't meet that October 1 deadline?
Correct. Our budget, we would have to totally redo the budget, and you would have to totally redo your tax rate and notification based on the newspaper article that we've already had to pay for. That would all have to be redone again.
So how much could that possibly cost our taxpayers here, our citizens in this city, if we don't approve this rate, and then we have to blow this up and do it all again?
And that's how much was the
I have no idea.
legal notice in the newspaper that
I
we did.
haven't got a bill on that. Hunt County Tax Appraisal District sent that out, and I haven't got I've got the form where they posted it, where it went in the newspaper, but as far as the price, I don't know.
Estimated based on your years of doing this before.
That's Susan. I don't have an estimation. I mean, I hate to say it was $100. It could have been $3/4 of the pay, it could have been $300.
It was like that. It was a legal notice that long. We would have to hold a whole new public hearing to be able to discuss the tax rate.
So if we do all that, and like I said, if it were denied and it did not pass this council tonight, that would mean to set another meeting that would require 72-hour notification. If you're talking about redoing the entire budget and everything, my fear is that it's gonna go past that October 1 date, and then we're gonna have to pay for and I don't know what the expenses are associated with that, but I do know that would mean all the mail outs and stuff, that the bills, when they come out, your tax sheets that come out to the individual, person.
You would also have to pay somebody. You would also have to pay somebody to drive the budget to Austin like we had to do 1 year before.
So today, we're sitting here at September 28th. We've already passed this tax rate on the first reading. If we don't pass it today, we're not gonna get it done by October 1st. We're gonna cost the city an inordinate amount of money, it sounds like. And we did not put that into the budget to pay for going back and reconsidering the tax rate.
So what is the next paperwork that has to be submitted to the county besides this and this one? Which this one, I'm guessing that you didn't recall, right? Is what I understood.
Yes.
But,
Well, when the ordinance is approved, it has to be submitted.
well, no, I'm asking what other paperwork has to be submitted, or do we have a plan of, okay, we knew we were gonna have a meeting tonight, if this all got approved, when were we gonna send whatever else we needed to send?
We emailed the signed ordinance to the tax office.
Chris, did you and Kevin have the same concern that I did, or?
Well, where were you guys when we passed this the first time? We had this information, this is in a prior packet, that paperwork that was submitted to the council is the standard thing they do. And now you want to cost our citizens in the city money to redo the budget?
Anything. I'm
No.
just asking a question so that I have clear clarification.
And me as
And
well.
the three of us were here.
I didn't say I wanted to cost anybody anything either. I just, I never remembered seeing anything that was saying we were submitting anything to the county. I know we had a meeting saying that we needed to have a meeting to approve the rate so we could submit to the county, if I remember correctly, the Zoom meeting, I'm not sure if you were on the Zoom meeting. I don't think you were on that one.
I've been at every meeting.
So I don't recall anything being said to me during a meeting that we were approving something because it was what was in a packet. What I was told, we were approving a rate so we could send paperwork into the county to get our rates back and locked in. And then we would have to move forward with our tax rate, right? Which in the aspect of what I'm seeing is we sent this in, which would lock in our rate, right?
Your debt service rate only, not your total tax rate, which is what you're adopting today.
I understand that, but the Zoom meeting we had on the 31st basically talked about all of this stuff,
It's that your
telling
total
us that
tax
we had to have that meeting that day in order to get this information sent to the county, which appears that this information was sent to the county before we had our meeting. That was the point of the question.
You are setting a total tax rate today that has nothing to do with your debt service rate. Your debt service rate, y'all said before when you agreed to having these in your debt services. Okay, so we have a motion on the table and it was seconded. So again, we bring it back to maintenance and operation of the .484213 made by Donna, seconded by Rhonda. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, motion, Rhonda,
Kevin Patterson.
Linda Catner.
Donna Milburn.
Christopher Bibb. Okay, motion passed for maintenance and operations. Brings us to 7D. Chair will entertain a motion for your debt service rate.
I'll make a motion that on ordinance number 288-9-15-2020, setting the payment of principal and interest on debt of the city at 0.064386.
Okay, motion was made by Donna. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Kevin seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say your name, please.
Donna Milburn,
Christopher Pitt.
Rhonda McKeon.
Kevin Featherston.
Linda Catton.
Okay, motion passed. Now 7C, total tax rate. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 288-9-15-2020, setting the total tax rate at 0.548599.
Okay, Donna made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Rhonda seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say your name, please.
Donna Milburn,
Christopher Pitt.
Rhonda McKeon.
Kevin Featherston.
Linda Catton.
Okay, motion passed. So that brings us to item 8, adjourn to executive session. And Annette, if you'll be in here for that. Jordan,
Yes, sir.
can you tell Cody and
she has to,
James?
are we done? She has
The
to.
other two.
Did you?
Yes, please.
Do the time.
It is 6:48.
Okay.
Still do. Yes, no.
Probably the, you know, the answer from other one question.